Let's get on to the next topic. Let's get on to the next topic, fam. Your boy, your friend,
bro,
Jimmy Dore.
Oh,
my man,
Jimmy Dore.
JD, what's up, baby?
Jimmy did an amazing.
SZ. That's Steph Zamorano. What's up, SZ? Sorry, I'm being funny now. Go ahead. What did Jimmy do?
Jimmy did a wonderful interview on with Ro Khanna.
This is vintage.
He addressed I liked his style, I liked his tactics. He was friendly and nice, but he was also kind of I don't know how to describe it. He was also he did a great job in getting the information out of Ro Khanna. Let's just put it that way. And putting him on the spot and asking him the tough questions. So I wanted to go over this because TYT and Anna and Emma and then the Humanist Report and then numerous people have talked about Tulsi's ties to Modi, and we kind of spoke about it the other day. But Ro Khanna had this one tweet regarding Tulsi where he retweeted Peter Friedrich. Now, you guys know Peter Friedrich.
Yeah, we played him on our show.
We've pretty much played him. He is a fraud. He doesn't have this information that he claims to have, this proof of Tulsi receiving direct RSS money. He
we have that video.
We do. We've shown it 50 times.
Yeah.
But so Peter Friedrich tweeted this article talking about how Tulsi has direct ties to RSS, blah, blah, blah. And Ro Khanna went, if you guys recall, and retweeted that, giving validation to this guy who we have literally asked for proof and cannot provide it, who has constantly been following Tulsi around trying to smear her. And we've seen it. So we were pissed. A lot of people were pissed. Like, how can you give validation to this guy? What are you doing? You know, you're supposed to be Bernie's co-chair. Why are you starting? Blah, blah, blah. People got pissed. And so Jimmy Dore asked him about this incident. And I want us to see how he starts talking about Tulsi and Modi, because Jimmy Dore also asked him how he felt about Tulsi, and his kind of brought up some of his past skeletons.
Like you. But let's get into, so now let's move on to something that is very confusing to dumb people like me. And so what, since my affiliation with Tulsi, and I've become aware of her, because of her, I've become aware of politics in India. So it used
let me say, Tulsi may have voted against those defense budgets too. So I was just thinking of the leading candidates, but she's been strong on that. So I didn't, she may have voted against them as well.
Okay. So here's what the headlines used to be when Obama was president. Modi-Obama bromance starts new chapter as U.S. President pens ode to Indian Prime Minister. So that was when he wrote an op-ed about praising Modi. And then here, another one, CNN, his bromance turning point, U.S. relations. And now here, this was from 2015. You yourself, this is a tweet where you said you issued a video welcoming PM Modi, and you attended a luncheon and all that, and none of the protests. And
I never issued a video. I think that was a mistake, but I did attend a event, a lunch, but I didn't. Or the SAP Center, but I was never on stage with him, and I never issued a video. But that was that.
We showed that tweet before, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. What was that? What was that in reference to?
The tweet?
Yes.
What I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but this tweet was different. It was back in 2015.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So we showed the tweet in 2015 tweet in reference to how Ro Khanna also would, under the same framework, would have the ties to Modi the way they're saying that Tulsi has, because under that tweet, you could say that Ro Khanna, under that article and under the FEC filings, you can see that Ro Khanna attended events with RSS supporters, interacted with pro-Modi people, and actually did it so he could get the Hindu vote. And we did talk about it on another show. So it's kind of, Jimmy's there pointing out the hypocrisy that a lot of us saw, that we pointed out too, was that, well, why has nobody gone after the Obamas, or why has nobody gone after Ro Khanna himself, who was tied and who did this? And why has nobody gone after Kamala Harris and any other public official that has met with Modi? Why is it only Gabbard? And it just seems like, you know, it might seem like we're defending her, but it's like, no, we're just trying to be fair, because what it looks like is that they're singling her out for doing the same thing that, say, somebody like Ro Khanna, who has those ties to those people as well, did. And because he realized the importance of their vote and the importance of India and how many people are in that country and how it's not just a simple black and white issue. But when he was campaigning, it was okay until the tide shifted, and all of a sudden now it's not okay to support any kind of Hindu, because then you're a Hindu fascist.
And the thing they think to bring up a lot too, as we play with the Tulsi video, is that Peter Frederick has his little minions out there, and he spreads out his information. He doesn't get a lot of traction, and I wonder why. I don't wonder why. We do have a super chat. I'm going to talk about it in a second. But the thing about it is that people keep talking about this 2002 incident where they try to pin Modi as being the head of that state and that he allowed a massacre to happen. The thing about it is that happened in 2002. Modi had a love affair with Obama in his terms, okay? So that was way after 2002. So the fact that you never heard that thing brought up, you know what I'm saying? They're just looking for specific areas where they can attack Tulsi Gabbard. And the thing about it is that people leave out the geopolitics of things. It's like she said, the most drills we run in that area of that South China area, there's China, there's Russia, and there's India. We run the most drills with India. India is the only new superpower in that area. So geopolitically, financially, our monetary system, all these other things that, of course, could use some work on. I'm not saying they're the best things in the world, but that's the only ally in that area. And now all of a sudden, these new claims come out of nowhere. Where were they years ago? Where were they years ago? Are you telling me that this is happening last year? We just learned about this with this one guy who's talking about the RSS and the BJP, and not talking about the past leaders, not talking about the poverty raising, not talking about the geopolitics of the situation.
And not even that, Pasta, and not even about Modi. Just why are they tying
Tulsi
to him directly? Does she have a bias? Probably. She's Hindu. I mean, but you can say that about everybody else that's Hindu and is in our country. It doesn't happen with other people. We're not tying Bernie Sanders to Netanyahu. We're not tying these people to other foreign countries. Why all of a sudden these ties? Why, as he said, the timing? And
so let's go back.
Let's go back and play the rest of it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That tweet, I think the campaign put out. I mean, there is no video. You can check that.
Okay, I did look. I didn't find it. So Kamala Harris also 2 years later welcomed Modi when he came to the United States. In fact, here's last week. Here's Steny Hoyer, the number 2 Democrat in the House, welcoming Modi. So my question, people like me get confused, right? So I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought people are coming at Tulsi hard because of her association with Modi. I thought Modi was toxic. And then I look and there's bipartisan support for Modi, even yourself back in 2015 welcoming, and then Kamala Harris. Nobody ever brings up you welcoming him or Kamala Harris or Obama's bromance. So what changed from 2017 when Kamala Harris was welcoming him to now? What changed?
Well, first of all, he is the sitting prime minister, and there has to be a relationship with the United States and India. And I think that's pragmatic, and no one is going to criticize a member of Congress or a senator or a president from meeting him. I mean, that would be a dereliction of duty to not meet with the sitting prime minister of India. All I have said, and it's particularly tomorrow is Gandhi's 150th birthday, and as you remember, Jimmy, my grandfather spent 4 years in jail in the 1940s during Gandhi's independence movement. All I have said is in America, we need to be clear that Hinduism, I love Hindu faith, is what Gandhi envisioned it to be, which is pluralism, that we should be for Muslim, Christian, Jews, Buddhists, all having the right to practice their religion, that we shouldn't be for nationalism, and that we need to have a pluralistic interpretation of Hinduism. And that's all that I've said.
So you're saying that you can be for pluralism. So Modi would be considered a national.
Because I think the irony of the whole thing is that the guy who he retweeted. He goes
on and talks about it. I was going to say, Johnny, we should go to that because But if you want to read the super chat first.
I'm going to read the super chat. And I just for finishing my thought about this guy is praising Gandhi. Like, here he is talking about Gandhi, talking about pluralism, and the person who he retweeted is going around trying to get Gandhi statues removed. So you should do your homework,
He's
Ro.
not praising Gandhi, though. He didn't praise him.
He did say that it's his 100th birthday, and Gandhi preached pluralism, and that's what we should.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So he did state a Gandhi thing, and the guy who he retweeted is trying to take down Gandhi statues.
Yeah, he doesn't.
It's just kind of.
He gave validity to someone that shouldn't have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Xavier Foster, $5 on the MCSC network. Get on over to the CONVO Couch YouTube and help us out, Xavier. We love you over there. Do you know how our tax dollars are being spent? Higher taxes won't fix a thing because of corruption, i.e., them states and cities, growing number of homelessness. Listen, I'm not going to, if you want to just try to put this on Democrats only, you're not going to have, this is one whole big system.
Right.
And Republicans have a part to play in this too. Don't think that Republican conservative policies are the way to go. I'm saying that we shouldn't be so necessarily follow the Democratic Party blindly and just ignore all Republican policies, but this is one whole big party. It's still a corporate state.
It's a misdistribution of resources, and both the Democrats and Republicans are complicit in it. Yeah. It's both.
All right.
Go ahead.
I think I found the spot.
76, and who made the DNC decide to winnow the field?
Well, that's of course I agree with all that stuff you just said. But so let me so the people, just so they have a clearer picture of what we're talking about right now in that tweet. So I want to show the people. So Tulsi had tweeted out why she decided to run for president. It's a video. And underneath this guy, Peter Friedrich, this article he wrote, and here's what it says. It says, long-form narrative documenting how the U.S. affiliates of the RSS, a fascist paramilitary in India, financed the rise of Tulsi Gabbard in exchange for her help rehabilitating Moni's tarnished reputation. And so then you, underneath that, you boosted that post. You said, important article. It's the duty of every American politician. So that article was smearing Tulsi. So that's the problem people have with that, Ro, is that you said important article. And it wasn't. So then you went on to say we need pluralism, which is Tulsi agrees with that, which her statement on this as a pluralist secular government is the only way to ensure that all individuals have the freedom to follow their religion or non-religious path of our choice. So that's definite. And she fights, and her statement is she fights bigotry with aloha. Now, your tweet caused a lot of problems in the Indian community. So this is from Indian Americans publication. Indian American community divided over Ro Khanna's tweet on Hindutva. While Hindu Americans urged the California congressman to withdraw the tweet, progressives and anti-Hindutva activists laud his tweet. So that guy Friedrich is just he's not a real writer. You know that he has sketchy background. He's an activist involved with a terrorist organization himself. And that stuff he did was a smear towards her. And so you boosted that post, and it's an important article. And so that's the problem people have with that. Now, do you regret that, or what would happen?
Here's what I would say, Jimmy. I mean, look, they're in politics. I respect any person's voice and journalist's voice. I mean, people say, don't go on Jimmy Dore's show, and he's going to smear people. But come on, I mean, being in Congress, running for president, these are important privileges, and you should be never criticize, in my view, critics. Peter Friedrich, in that article, had mentioned me too. In fact, he said that one of the people who gave Tulsi money had given me money. That's why it came on our article. And I wanted to say to him that, look, it's an important article that you're pointing out that there may be some right-wing groups in the United States, and we ought to be clear that we reject that kind of politics here. I didn't think at the time in any way that was me attacking Tulsi Gabbard, and I do think that Peter Friedrich, to the point he's making, that Hindu American politicians should reject right-wing nationalism, I think that's fair. But
okay.
So he said that he kind of had to clear his name, that he was mentioned. So he went to defend himself.
I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't buy that. Applaud his effort, and I applaud him for going on Jimmy Dore and talking about this. But that was a very political answer to give. It was not an honest one because at the very least, do your homework about Peter.
Yeah.
And understand
Peter
what
or
he
Peter?
he is. Well, it's Peter, but understand that he was going after Tulsi, and he's done it numerous times.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only tweet. I wish we could find. That wasn't the only tweet of his that he was applauding. There were other tweets from not only him but other people that he was boosting.
That he liked, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that he liked on Twitter that were directly attacking Gabbard in that regard. So, no, I don't buy it. Nice political answer, and I love Ro Khanna for a lot of his anti-war stances. But I mean, he's not perfect. He, with the whole Israel HR 1837. The whole funding of weapons, and I think he should have just not done it at all, and I think he should have been honest and said, look, I didn't really read my sources, I shouldn't have retweeted it.
That would have been more respectable.
That's it, and you don't even have to admit anything else. But
he's acting like a politician here.
He's acting like a
to me he looks establishment. He's acting establishment, right?
Well, Ro has always been caught in that middle ground. If you remember
Yeah.
the sane progressive that some people said there was the insane progressive, whatever the case you want to be about her, I know she kind of blew off, but she got really upset when Jimmy Dore had Ro Khanna on his show. That was like the start of I've seen her going off the reservation, getting really pissed off because we had read the WikiLeaks documents when it kind of showed Ro somewhat pandering to the Clintons, and where he got his money was suspect. A lot of people within the Silicon Valley. So it was always been we've always looked at Ro like this. We've always appreciated his anti-war sentiment.
Yeah.
And in his video, he says, I was the first one to talk about lifting sanctions in Venezuela. Well, can you get Bernie Sanders aboard with that one too as well?
And that's what
Educate him.
Jimmy, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's get people aboard with that if that's what you're for. And that's great. The Yemen stuff, he was always opposed to it. So I always loved the fact that Ro was front and center because he was an anti-war guy.
Yeah.
But he's always been suspect, given those political answers, playing both sides, where he gets his money from, who he panders to, these sort of things. We get the receipts. And if you do have receipts, ladies and gentlemen, you want to send them to the convocouch@gmail.com. Anybody. There was somebody who was talking to me the other day about receipts about a certain person. Not going to mention who, but they're going to look for them. If you have receipts on things we should know about, send them to us. We look at them. We pay attention to them. We like them. We love the fact that we have an educated, awesome audience.
Alrighty. So I just want to go ahead and move on to the
Do we have one more? Do we have more stuff?
Elizabeth.
Oh, because this is the big sidestep.
Well, so
This is important.
Jimmy Dore makes a really, really good point on how Bernie needs to differentiate himself more, and the campaign does, from Elizabeth Warren. And I want you guys to listen to Ro Khanna's answer to that.
With Bernie, I know you have to go, but if Bernie wins, I say that he needs better strategy, right? Because the strategy in 2016, he had the people around him were a little bit out of touch, which is a nice way to say that they missed the boat on alternative media in 2016. They didn't go on the Young Turks until March of 2016, and the contest was already over by that time. So they've done a lot. For instance, they blew out his voice the night before the debate, and then they rested it after the debate. These kind of rookie mistakes. Like right now, again, repeating CIA talking points or endorsing Joe Biden a year and a half out. You don't need that gets you nothing. But my question is, he has to now differentiate himself from Elizabeth Warren, right? And he's not really doing it because he's a much better candidate. We know that. So how does he do it?
Well, I'd say there are two things. I'll answer your question directly. But first, he has to distinguish himself from Joe Biden, because the place where he is losing votes to Joe Biden, ironically, are working class voters under 50. In Iowa, many of them white working class voters under 50. And Biden, because of this narrative of being the person who grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania with this image, is getting some of those votes. And Sanders is their second choice. So I think he has to clearly point out that he has been fighting for unions. He's for Medicare for all. Joe Biden isn't. He has opposed NAFTA. Joe Biden was for NAFTA and TPP. He has fought for a $15 minimum wage. Joe Biden hasn't. And that he's really the champion.
this is what a side step of a question.
He
People
immediately
under
went to
50,
Joe Biden.
Maybe people from 50 to the age of 49.
He
because
went-
there's nobody young that's going to be him go to Biden to go from Bernie to Biden.
He immediately went to Joe Biden. He didn't even talk about Elizabeth Warren. I would have at the very least, answered and said, "Hey, you know what, Jimmy, you're wrong. We have been differentiating between Bernie and Elizabeth Warren because they have actually. The Brianne Joy Gray has done a wonderful job of differentiating between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. She has specifically stated how they're different via her tweets, via her articles. She's doing a wonderful job. She's one of the best people on Bernie's campaign, if not the best, besides, Nina, as far as what they're doing, as far as how they're framing everything, as far as going after the things, seeing the big picture. She's the one that's doing a lot of that. And so are Bernie's grassroots supporters. They have taken it upon themselves to differentiate him from Elizabeth Warren because they understand that the campaign is limited in the abilities of things that they can do for political reasons, for strategy, for whatever you want to call it. So it is up to the grassroots to do it. And the grassroots has been doing a great job of that. I would have answered it that way if you didn't even want to pivot onto what Bernie should do or should not do on Elizabeth Warren. But he didn't even do that. Instead, he went straight to Joe Biden and completely dismissed that Elizabeth Warren is a threat. And I have seen him completely push Elizabeth Warren up, just like I've seen it from Linda Sarsour, just like I've seen it from Winnie Wong. And I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with it at all.
Yeah.
But whatever, just it's there. We're seeing it.
Yeah.
And again, I urge his Bernie supporters to completely go and take it upon yourselves to differentiate Bernie, because again, this is the kind of answer we're getting from one of his co-chairs or his surrogates. So that's it. And we have to be the ones to be willing to do the work. And that's why we're constantly talking about Elizabeth Warren here, about the differences between her and Bernie, because she is the one to watch. She's the one the establishment is lining up again, to support. She's the one supported by Third Way, propped up by the mainstream media. And Joe Biden is the one the Democratic Party is now using as a punching bag to mock. He's not the real threat here.
He might not even make it out of this next couple weeks.
She's copying Bernie verbatim.
Yeah.
She's copying his entire plan. How dare you not even admit that she is a threat?
And here's what Cheyenne Tierra said on the Facebook. Warren is hosting a big DNC fundraiser with Pelosi. That, when you gave me the strike 3, when you're done, completely done, was when I saw Elizabeth Warren. That was her third strike, clean strike, of going around with Hillary Clinton. I don't even understand where she can get off doing that. How that wouldn't just immediately sack your campaign. When it comes to public perception from the mainstream independents, they can't stand. And a lot of us progressives cannot stand, absolutely not stand, Hillary Clinton. She is the epitome of evil, and we don't want you. That's old news. And why does the camp, is it not true, fam, when people says it looks like Bernie's camp is split? Because we also had a couple tweets from Shahid Buttar propping up Elizabeth Warren. Was like, wait a second, something's going on over there where they're just not following it. Because if you follow the money, you'll see that Elizabeth Warren is an automatic strike. Get out of there. You cannot support this woman. She is a losing bet, fam. So don't you see some form of split within the camp of Bernie Sanders?
Well, that's because Bernie Sanders supporters are a multitude of people. There, you have people that were maybe ex-independents, Republicans who support Bernie, and then you have people who were maybe a few who used to be establishment type of people, all that way, because it's representative of the split of the Democratic Party. But within Bernie Sanders' campaign, there is a clear divide. A lot of the people working within the campaign come from more of an establishment setting, and they are comfortable with Elizabeth Warren. They see her as an ally. They think, oh, this is great. Like, we're going to reach for Bernie, but, it's okay. Elizabeth Warren is great. You're seeing that from the Evan Vigilans of the world, from the grassroots, the people who are on the streets, the people who were there for Bernie in 2015, 2016. Those people, you're not going to see a lot of Elizabeth Warren love. In fact, they are very, like I said, ardently working against that narrative, because they understand that when it was time for Elizabeth Warren to put her integrity and her values over her career, she chose her career. And she chose her career yet again. So is she an ally? No. Is she taking the money? Yes. Is she going to take more money? Yes. Is she supportive of Medicare for all? No. She wants access to affordable health care and talks about a Medicare for all framework. So the Bernie Sanders supporters do know that difference. The grassroots does. But when it comes to people in the campaign, they're a little bit more pragmatic, and they think, well, you know, maybe I can get something out of Elizabeth Warren. What if she wins? And that's what I'm seeing here. And again, I'm not with it. I'm not with supporting corporate candidates and pretending they're progressive simply because they regurgitate the same information that Bernie's putting out there and put a stamp on it and say, I'm pretty much Bernie Sanders 2.0, but I'm the knockoff version. Please vote for me. Because you know why? She's not going to beat Donald Trump. She's going to lose to him terribly. And we've outlined this numerous times, and we will continue to talk about it. And we are split. But the point is, if you are a Bernie Sanders supporter, you want to get him to win. And you're not going to get him to win by propping up his biggest enemy and his biggest foe. You need to differentiate between him and her, period, or you're going to cause him to lose this election. And that's the bottom line. And that's why I can't stand for surrogates or people like that to be pushing up Elizabeth Warren. You can be nice in a way that's not mocking of her gender or of anything to do with superficialities. And you don't even have to go to the freaking Native American thing. If you even want to ignore that, that's fine. But policy-wise, if you're not differentiating between her and Bernie Sanders, you are completely working against Bernie Sanders. And again, Pasta, this is why Bernie has said that change comes from the bottom up, not the top down. We cannot expect people in the higher echelons who are removed from what's going on here to understand. So we have to take it upon ourselves and do the work.
But that's awesome. And a lot of people are saying thank you for drawing the line and explaining. Some people even said, give me the rundown on what a Bernie surrogate said, and I think you really hit on that. But why are these people who are Bernie supporters that don't like Tulsi, why are they scared shitless of her? I mean, what is the issue there? I can't understand it. I can't pick it up. Is it just the Modi stuff? I mean, but that seems like a conjured up kind of situation to use an excuse to not like her, like the Assad stuff, like to not like her and stuff. Why are people those people who have gone on that Warren side, why have they moved away from Tulsi? Is it just the fact that they have a lack of foreign policy?
I think so. I think a large part of it is foreign policy, to be honest. Tulsi is strong on her foreign policy, but to many people, she is not there on domestic policy. She hasn't put out her Medicare for All plan, which she will put out accordingly. She hasn't really addressed some of the, like, Bernie is all social class warfare. This is my Green New Deal. I'm like this FDR guy. Tulsi is foreign policy, maven,
like the Wallace,
etc. Exactly.
The Wallace we never got.
They have what the other needs. This is why they're so dangerous, and I'm gonna go on that too. Together, they would be the most dangerous force for the establishment. Bottom line, military-industrial complex, corporatist Wall Street. Bam, you have those together. With Elizabeth Warren, it wouldn't be a change. It would simply be just trying to fix it, trying to put these little Band-Aid solutions. And that's the bottom line. And I think some of those people, they're very minor Bernie supporters that don't like Tulsi. Some of them don't because they're afraid that, you know, they feel like she should have supported Bernie instead, that this is Bernie has the biggest shot. So let's strategically, let's run, and then she can run next. And that's their belief. I think she is, personally, this is my opinion only, I think she is pivotal to him winning this election. Because if he has the biggest shot, if we're operating under that mindset that he has the biggest shot to win the primary, then we have to operate under the mindset that he needs an ally, that he needs somebody there when let's say we go to contested convention, they try to all come around Warren, he needs somebody there to at least help in the fight. And the establishment sees that she is a threat, and that's why they're continuously spreading these smears against her, trying to make fighting between the Bernie Sanders campaign and the Tulsi campaign and their supporters attacking each other. That's what they want. They want that. Because when that's broken, boom, you're just going to have them working against each other. Yeah. They can get to do whatever the hell they want, and they move on, and that's it, and we all lose.
You know, I think the fact is that people have to understand how important foreign policy is. If we understood MMT and we just created money for whatever we want, are we going to still continue to make money to build bombs, to bomb people? It's a moral thing too as well. And it's so tied directly to what happens at home domestically. If we do live by this monetary system where we spend a certain amount of money on foreign policy and giving aid or bombing or arming people, we're going to have no money for the stuff we want at home.
I know you got a super chat, but but I just want to say, Pasta, to counteract your point, you're never going to get people to pay attention to foreign policy if they can't feed themselves, if they are under debt, if they're working 40 hours a week for no money, if they're living in their cars. You have to address the underlying class issue here. And this is where the Bernie supporters a lot differ, because they look at that as the primary thing, because they can't think about foreign policy. And it's not just Bernie supporters, it's people in general. We as Americans don't pay attention to foreign policy because we can't, because the majority of us are working 3 jobs to make ends meet, can't afford rent, can't afford to go to the doctor because you're afraid that you're going to get hit with a crazy copay and you're going to get billed. You're paying your student debt. You can't even look up. So yes, we should be more educated on foreign policy. Absolutely. Yeah. And there is a direct connection, and I agree with that. But until we address those concerns domestically, then you're not going to get their attention.
Well, I used to hate when people say, why can't we do both at one time? I think we need to do both at one time. Bam, you got anything else to add before we get on out?
No. I mean, we said a lot here. So there's a lot to think about, and how you all want to approach this. But just want to say to the Tulsi people and the Bernie people watching and the progressive people watching, the independents, of undecided voters, if you really want to be this election is not about the Republicans and the Democrats. This election is about the people regaining what we deserve, regaining an ability to make a living, regaining an ability to have fairness in our media, in our justice system, everywhere, and to stop these oligarchs from continuing this perpetual cycle that pretty much just continues to push us deeper and deeper into debt and economic crisis and into more wars, which is at the very least you can say what Tulsi has done is brought that to the front. Yeah. And I think that's something worthy, and that is why I support her voice in the debates.
Yeah, and I'm glad she is on the debates. And also we have to understand and point out the hypocrisy of the left. The left leadership is just so awful, ladies and gentlemen. The Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the Adam Schiffs, the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, they got to go. We have to get rid of them.
The Feinsteins.
What's that?
Feinstein.
The Dianne Feinsteins. These people have to go, okay? You can't say but Trump and just automatically go to any blue will do. And we have to realize people like Hillary Clinton are a cancer to this party. Elizabeth Warren has 0 shot. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak to a lot of libertarians, a lot of independents, a lot of Republicans. I do. I listen. I speak to them on a regular basis, and we talk politics. They will not accept it. We will never get those votes in the middle with these people, okay? They only represent the people within our own echo chamber, these people within the California Democratic Party, which is not a progressive party. It's an insider party, and it's insider people who are pushing these heads within the Democratic Party. If we continue to go down that path, if we take another step with the Elizabeth Warrens, we're just going to end up flat on our face, and the Trumps of the world will continue to win.
And it's going to discredit our movement, because they're going to say, look what happens when you run a leftist candidate, a progressive, against Donald Trump. People don't want that. That's exactly what they're going to say. They're going to use it to discredit our movement. It's either all or it's nothing. Yeah. It has to be. Yeah. So I urge everybody to get involved locally in somehow in their elections, or actually run for office. A lot of people here are running for delegates. A lot of people are running to get involved in the committees. All of these things are important. And because, again, it comes from right now, once we have our more and more progressives in these positions of power, it's going to allow for more of it to come in. And if there is a third party in formation, it's going to allow that third or fourth party, whatever it is, to come and have a shot at actually gaining people. That's when we're going to see change, not when we expect these instructions to come from the top.
Yeah. And Jim Garrison gave $10 on the MCSC network. Jim Garrison, if you haven't subscribed to the Convo Couch YouTube, please do so, and get over to the Convo Couch Rockfin. It's important to watch and listen and share shows like this. Jimmy also said something important too. He was talking about the old network he was on. In 2016, people caught on late to TYT, and that's why it was already too late by the time they caught on. Shows like this, we talk about stuff outside the Beltway, outside the mainstream media. The reason why we don't like Elizabeth Warren so much is because we follow the money. And if you follow the money of mainstream media, if you follow the money of now TYT, the little hug kiss that Emma is boasting Elizabeth Warren, and you follow where Elizabeth Warren gets her money from, you'll see it's inadequate. It's never going to work. It's a cancer, and we need to get away from it. So share shows like this. Watch shows like this. These shows, we're mice squeaking against the avalanche, but squeak we must.
You love
that's
that
what
metaphor.
Chris Hedges said it, and that's what we're doing. And I'm
Yeah,
really
it's a
proud
good
of the
one.
work we were doing
It's a good one.
because we did talk about Joe Biden in Ukraine the day he announced while everybody avoided it. Listen, we could have saved the Democrats a lot of headaches from what we talked about 6 months ago had they only watched it, because it exposed exactly what Joe Biden did there and what happened. Bobby Boucher says the chickens is coming home to roost, and the chickens are coming home to roost, and they just pretty much handed slow cap for Mr. McDreamy, can't buy me love, for putting Donald Trump back in office, because that's what they are doing. Jim Garrison, get over to the Convo Couch YouTube. Johnny, anything else before we get on out of here?
Nope.
For Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella Isabel.
Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s. Go over to our Rockfin.
Okay, come out. Bye, guys.
We
Thanks
love
for
you,
watching.
Mikey, you, Steph. Thanks for watching.
They like your hair.
We love your hair.
Whose hair?
Your hair.
They're-
Oh, my hair?
They're saying, yeah, they like
Oh,
your hair.
thank you.
All right.
Huh. I thought you were talking about pasta.
Convo out.
I said combo out.
All right.
Peace.